What about the individuals who refuse to have this number implantation?
We expect some minor resistance, especially from highly motivated religious groups. But eventually, hunger will cause even the most zealous to conform to our program. Gentlemen, I believe that within a year, 2 at the most, our one world government will be a reality. If we continue on our present course, it is my opinion that we could present the devil himself as a world leader, and the people would accept him.
The clip I just showed you was from the 1981 film entitled Early Warning. Initially, this film didn't get much attention. However, it is now 40 years later, and people are starting to notice something a little bit strange. Here, see for yourself.
I would like to thank each and every one of you for your hard work and dedication to our cause. In reviewing this year's progress, let me say that we have been highly effective in conditioning the people's minds to accept our solution to the world's problems. The energy crisis here in the United States was exceptionally successful worldwide, and we expect similar success with our upcoming food shortage. Our labor leaders have made great progress by causing confusion and work stoppages in all areas of the world. Financially, the dollar is being devalued even faster than we could have hoped. Politically, the public has lost total confidence in any form of government. The threat of universal war is a daily possibility. As you know, we ourselves do not need to hold any visible office of leadership. As a matter of fact, it's better that we do not. We control the finances, news media, food, transportation, energy. We control everything. It is important that you, as world leaders, keep our program before your countrymen. With our World Bank and computer program operational, we now have the capacity to control the financial affairs of every human being on Earth by giving each person his own computer number. Anytime his number is used, we would know his financial situation at once. He could not buy or sell anything without his computer number. It will simplify their lifestyles tremendously. The end result will be a one-world monetary and government system that we alone will control. Yes.
What about the people who forget their number, or their cards are lost or stolen?
We've made provisions for that. By using this laser imprinter, we can painlessly and permanently affix the person's number to the back of his hand or his forehead if he so desires. The numbers would be easily read by this new ultraviolet scanning equipment. For the purposes of demonstration, I've had such a number imprinted on myself. Once.
Welcome everyone to the Best Damn Podcast. I'm your host, John Keane. As always, I would like to thank you guys for joining me. Ask that you please add, follow, and check us out, www.spreaker.com/user/Best Damn Podcast. Also check out the bestdampodcast.tv. Follow me, Instagram, Best Damn Podcast, Twitter, The Real Best Damn, and wherever you're watching from, please make sure to subscribe, follow, hit that thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and share. Share. It helps me out a whole bunch. And if you'd like to donate and support to the channel, you can do so in the links in the description below. PayPal, Venmo, Patreon, Cash App, or Facebook Messenger Pay. And everybody who supports gets access to our exclusive content, the uncensored content, and I see people pour it in here. Yeah, that's what's up. You guys can get that over on Patreon, or if you go the alternative route, you can do by texting 513-393-2396 or email therealbestdampodcast@gmail.com, and you just put links, and you can get the Dropbox, the band playlist, unveiling the mysteries. Just it goes on and on, man. I'm a workhorse when it comes to that private shit. What's up, guys? Thank you guys for joining me. Let's see what we have in the chat here. I've got some cool stuff tonight, actually. Cool stuff. Looks like we have Graceful Heart, Kanati Hunting Wolf, Know Thyself, Besham Craig. I'm probably saying that wrong, so I apologize. Over on Facebook Live, Matt Kozniak, Stool Purger, Wide Awake and Angry, Matthew Short, Jane Go, Kylan, probably saying that wrong also. CR User, Brandy Robinson, Tia Maria, Paulo W, Lower Class Citizen. Thank you. Deneen Knapp, I think. Raynard Cregan. Awesome, guys. I appreciate everybody. Sharon Kane. That's what's up. Johnny925. Cool. Lauren. Hi, John. Well, hi, Lauren. How are you? And Damo. Hi from New Zealand. New Zealand is cool, man. That's where I want to go before the world ends. I would love to go hang out in New Zealand. I think it's beautiful. And Mandy, thank you guys. Richard Mason too. Too late to hold out now, John. Tell it like it is. Ain't that the truth, right? Ain't that the truth? It is too late to hold out now. Just tell it like it is. And the way it is right now is pretty fucked up. It looks like, and let me just be like totally transparent with this. I want people to use their critical thinking. Okay, so put your thinking caps on, and I want you to use your spiritual discernment. Anything that you see, anything that I show, anything that I talk about. So, like, just don't take my word for it. And please, please, please don't allow fear to dictate, your decision making, your life, anything, right? Because no matter where we're at what point in the prophetical timelines, no matter what's going on in the news, no matter, what's going on in the sky, we still got to live our lives. We still got to have love in our hearts, and we still got to be human beings and enjoy the experience that we get to experience here. So, I know a lot of people, they get caught up in the doom and gloom, and I'm Mr. Doom and Gloom. Trust me, I'm addicted to the shit. But there is a point of just knowing, right? Like, and we fear what we don't understand. So that's why we look at things like this, is so we can understand them and no longer have fear, right? That truth will set you free. Then you're free to live your life without the restrictions of worry. That's what the government wants you to do. Notice they use fear as the number one tactic of control. Right? Oh, you're going to get sick. You better put this on your face. Oh, you're going to get sick. You better line up. Oh, you're going to get sick. You just lost your job. Right? These are all fear tactics. Look at the supply chain. Look at the crops. Look at the cattle. Like they're trying to keep you enslaved, and it's all a mental game. That's why, I would say 99% of the military is probably used on psychological operations, psychological warfare, right? Like, they build up with big tanks, and they got missiles, and they got guns, and they got all this shit. But 99% of the time, what are they doing to you? They're just mind-fucking you. You know what I mean? They're just mind-fucking you. It's like, oh, we got the threat of this, we got the threat of that, but as long as we keep, reconfirming these fears for you, reaffirming your worst nightmares for you, then you'll always listen, and you'll always behave the way that we want you to. So, let's take a look at some of... Damn, you're good. Thanks. I appreciate that. John always has great insights. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, man. Good vibes, says Charlie Jones. Death is a mystery. Is it? Is it a mystery? I mean, or is this death? right? See, I have a belief that this is a system of death, and that, just like, when we are born, it's like you're not aware before you come into this world, right? This is like being in the womb to go into the next world, and everything that we experience here, everything that we encounter in our lives, like it just accumulates into the wisdom and the knowledge that we need for the next place, right? Like this isn't the big show, guys. You spend what, 60, 80, maybe if you're lucky 120 years here, right? And we have funerals and we get all sad every time someone goes away. But the truth is, where you came from, you were there a long time before you were ever here, and you'll be there way longer, after it's all said and done, right? We're infinite, man. There's no such thing as death. That's an illusion too. It's all part of the construct, right? And that's kind of, the whole thing about freeing your mind is the fear of death. Once you're no longer held by death, there's nothing in this world that can hold you anymore. And I promise you that one. 120, never known anyone to hit that. Well, I haven't known anyone personally, but I mean, I've seen people make it past 120 in, news articles and shit. You needed to hear this right now. Well, that's great, man. That's great, because that's what I'm here for. Maybe your higher self told me to tell you today because it knew that you needed to hear this, right? I really want people to focus on the positive things that you have in life. We always want to focus on what we don't have and what we lack. But remember, like, truth be told, you are part of the infinite, and you are abundance. You are love. You are wealth. So all of the honor, all of the glory, all of the things that you seek are already inside of you. It's just up to you to believe in you. That way you can manifest that and make those things a reality. You know what I mean? So let's take a look here. Let's get into the grimy shit now. All right. I promise I'll gas you up before we leave. Incoming solar superstorm could cause an internet apocalypse, according to experts. And look, we've got some weird shit too tonight. I'm just gonna say it, and I love it when it's weird. By the way, because I'm weird. There is now polls, I guess, saying there's a 28% chance that the former POTUS, Mr. Trump, could come back into office by the end of this year. I mean, we all know Biden's a fuck up, but, I didn't expect mainstream to go with the whole, shit like this too, but it looks like they're going to. I would not be surprised at this point in the game to see something like this actually happen. I mean, seriously, I would not even be surprised at this point. It would just confirm a lot of my suspicions about, the beast of Revelations and how he took the wound to the head and lived. And remember, wound isn't like a gunshot or anything like that. It actually means a scourge or an affliction, right? So he had the C-19 to the head and lived, right? So that's what made him one of the beasts of Revelation, in my opinion. And the second one is the image of the beast. And I do believe Biden is a hologram. I'm just keeping it absolutely 100 with you. I know that sounds way out in left field to some people, but bro, I've seen him fake fucking interviews and everything. There's something really off about that cat. And I've done a lot of videos. If you check out my videos called The Assimilation, I show the hyper flesh and the robots and shit. And when you look at AI and artificial intelligence just as a whole, I do believe these demonic or interdimensional entities have basically used this as a medium or a conduit to navigate our third dimensional reality. And that's what's happening right now. All around us, we're seeing our world be terraformed, right, for these entities to kind of to take place here, right? Like that's what chemtrails are all about, you know, and they spell it out for you in everything they do, right? Barium and aluminum, right? BAAL, bale, right? They're raining bale down on your head, you know, with the nanoparticulates that they're putting in the air, that's going in the water, that's going in the plants, the animals, you, right? And turning us all into these giant fucking antennas. You look at the 5th generation technology, millimeter waves, and what they do. You know, they have, and it's just like a microwave in your home. You know, we're made up of 80% water, and that particular technology has the power to make water molecules rotate, and that's what generates heat when you have like heat rays and directed energy and things of that sort. But it's also telling because it's 5th generation. You look at like the Hopi prophecy, and it talks about the 5th world emerging, right? It's saying like the 5th world will emerge, and this is supposed to be that time. Well, it doesn't say it's going to be like a good world or anything like that. Like there's no specifics on what kind of world it will actually be, right? And 5th generation technology to me is like humanity 5.0, right? And if we look at kind of the cyclical past of like catastrophism and all of that, you know, that's one of the beliefs is that there are, I believe there's 4 cycles in each catastrophic cycle, and it's from the different elements that destroy the world. It's water, wind, earth, and fire, right? And fire is the final conflagration. And these are ancient beliefs and a lot of Eastern beliefs too. We've covered this probably ad nauseum for some of you, right? But Immanuel Velikovsky's Worlds in Collision, where he actually talks about that and how, you know, the ancient Chinese and, you know, it's the birthing of a new planet. And I want to keep bringing this up because I think it's true as shit. You look at the Eternals, I think is the name of the movie, the new Marvel movie. That's literally the premise of that entire movie, is that the world is, and I forget what they call the convergence is what they call it. So think of singularity and shit like that, right? And they're talking about this convergence that's happening. It's the birthing of a new celestial, which is Tiamat. And we look at Lost Book of Enki and the whole story of Enki and Enlil, the 2 brothers, Satan and Lucifer, you know, Old Testament, New Testament, however you want to look at it, right? By Baal, 2 gods, okay, or the Sun Book. And it's about birthing a celestial, and then you look at Tiamat being destroyed, right? Broken into pieces, fragmented, fractaled, so they could mine her golden veins, right? And it's like, wow, you know, we see the predictive programming kind of being put out there. And how were all the other planets created? Were they made in catastrophe? Because there's a lot of ancient texts that actually show depictions of before Mars and Venus were even around, right? So humans, more than likely, are probably older than a lot of the planets, if you would actually believe that, right? See, now, your mainstream science is going to tell you something totally different, right? Like, they always want to minimize our existence and act like we have no control. And the only thing, matter of fact, I've got an article to show you tonight that says that we killed the fucking mammoths off and shit. It's like they blame us for everything. They want you to have this projection of yourself that you're a parasite to this world and there's nothing special about you. And that's why they create you know, these models of the solar system that's galaxy upon galaxy, you know, planet upon planet. That way you seem like this cosmic accident, right? And that there's nothing great about you. But in my opinion, we are the center of creation, and it is us that are actually collectively creating the reality around us. And that's why it's imploding on itself right now. It's because probably the most powerful spirits here, the most powerful minds here, are the ones that are actually awakening. And think about what it means even in that word, right? Awake, right? Awake is a funeral, right? It's for someone who's dead. You have a wake, right? And you're awakening, right? So that means you're dying to the world's perception. You're dying to the reality that you think you know, and you're being born again, right? And we are creating the new heaven and the new earth as we speak right now. And because of that, we're seeing this world collapse. That's why the veil is falling. That's why everything around us seems to be going to hell, is because we've let this place go, right? We've let it go. So now it has to self-destruct, right? Because it's death and rebirth. That's what this system is all about. That's what this third dimension is all about. And remember, the 3D is just a reflection of the 4D, right? So this is merely your shadow of what you really are. You're really up there in the stars, and you're really a celestial being yourself, and you're really far greater than probably any of us can even wrap our minds around. And the beautiful part about it all is that we're coming back into that right now. That collectively, maybe there is no such thing as an individual person. You see in the book of Exodus, it talks about kings of 50, 100, and 150. Maybe all of us collectively make up, just like in the movie The Eternals, right? One super celestial being. You look at the first book of Adam and Eve, and when the angels beheld us in our original form, they fell to their feet and fell to their face and started worshiping us, right? Because we were that awesome. And to me, that's very telling. That means that in our original state, we were God, right? We are God, or a big part of God, or a manifestation of God, something very, very high in the spiritual realms. If it wasn't so, then those type of entities that are actually pulling the strings down here wouldn't have fallen on their face and started worshiping just at the sight of us. They wouldn't have to put governors on our brain to only allow us to access 10% of it at any given time. They wouldn't have to incrementally poison us, right, in our food supply, our water supply, and genetically modify us through every fucking possible way they can over such a long period of time if they were actually more powerful than we are, right? There would have to be no deception. There's no need for deception if you're more powerful than the other person, right? Like, if I can kick your ass, I'm not going to bullshit you. I just punch you, right? Right? Like, so if I have control over you, I just tell you what to do. But if I don't, then I need to deceive you, and I need to manipulate you to make you do what I want you to do, because I know that in truth, like, you are more than what I am. And that's what I believe these fallen, or these watchers, these governors, whatever you want to call them, these beings that are pulling the strings down here, they understand that. And they wouldn't take the tactics that they've chosen if it wasn't true that we were far greater than even they are, right? Like, if we wasn't something, a force to be reckoned with, then they wouldn't have to have such caution when dealing with us. They wouldn't need to dumb us down, trap us in physical bodies, and shorten our lifespans, and divide us from, into sexes, masculine and feminine, and use reproduction to fragment our souls, and use demonic entities to feed off our emotions, and give us emotions that make our spiritual energy exerted in a physical manifestation. They wouldn't have to do any of those things if they were more powerful than we are. So, that's something to kind of, put under your hat and hold on to, and like realize, like, you're about to step back into whatever it was you were before this existence. This is not you, you know. This is merely the beginning of something far greater, in my opinion. And we're stepping into that right now. We're coming into that right now. It talks about in the last days that knowledge will be increased. Guys, this is no lie, no bullshit. I couldn't even imagine knowing half of what I know just a couple of years ago. You know, like that's how much I feel like just myself has been stretched from this like conscious awakening that we're experiencing now. And you can start to see such a like a great difference between ourselves and the ones who are under the delta wave, right? And they're the walking dead now, right? They're the walking dead. They're sound asleep. There's no waking them up, I believe now. They're at that point, in my opinion, and that's what all of these waves are about. That's why and I believe there will only be 5 waves of all of this shit that's rolling out on all of us right now. And that's because it's representing, once again, right, 5.0, humanity 5.0, 5th generation technology, and it's also the 5 elements, or the pentagram, and that's the starfish body of humanity, right, the pinnacle. We got 2 arms, legs, and a head, you know, and that's how we experience the world. It represents Earth, it represents us, it represents the whole. So they're covering all bases by doing it in 5 waves, right? Because they do everything through the occult. And in this 4th wave, we've seen the delta come out, right? Delta associated with the delta brain waves, which means what? REM sleep. So this is the point where they put them into this dream state, you know? And they're creating a virtual reality around them right now as we speak, through artificial intelligence, through 5th generation technology, through D wave, right, delta. And notice, and somebody pointed this out to me, that they actually deliver this system into their deltoid muscle, right, when they're giving it to them. So everything is about delta when it comes to this, because it's a sleep state that they're being induced into. But the 5th wave is the omega wave, right? I am the alpha and the omega, the beginning and the end, right? And you can only, you know, kind of surmise what would come from the omega wave. And I think we're already starting to see a lot of that. And I think when we look at people being boosted, so to speak, and a lot of the reactions from that, and I gotta choose my words carefully here, so please try to read between the lines. That's what Omega is going to look like, because, you know, I've walked you through the horsemen of the apocalypse and where we are with that as well, right? How the rider on the white horse, the one with the bow, the toxon, which is a device or mechanism, and that's what's used for conquering and to conquer, right? That's how they've conquered the world's population, and it's the World Health Organization and the United Nations. That's the first horse, right? And it has the Stephanos, which means to wreathe or twine, and that's showing the logos, right, or the sigil that represents that entity, right, which is just another version of a mask or a persona, right? Because that's all we're dealing with here. Anything that is a representation of us, ourselves, or other people, or corporations. Remember, a corporation is a corpus, it's a body too, right? Any type of character, right, has a sigil, a symbol, a logo, right, including yourselves to represent it. And then the red horse taking peace from the earth. That was, in my opinion, the Abraham Accord peace treaty. It says if one inclines towards peace, it inclines towards you. And you see the sigil for that one, right? It shows the whole operation with the Great Conjunction, the jab, SpaceX, I mean, the whole nine. And then we find ourselves right now with the Libra scales, where we're yoked into servitude through law or obligation, which is the mandates. And now here comes the hyperinflation, and as you know, and that's the day's wage being the price of a meal, right? And that's what they're talking about. And the green horse means to comply or to capitulate, and that's why it's a green agenda that is rolling out everywhere, right? The green is signaling that they're in compliance with the beast system, right? That's why it's green passports. And, you know, even the very first medicine that they use, chloroquine, chloros equine, that means a green horse, right? Like they're putting it right in your face if you have the eyes to see, you know. But the problem is most people don't. And what holds them from seeing, in my opinion, is the fear of death, right? It's the fear of death that keeps them from being able to see. The scales fall from your eyes when you're no longer afraid of dying, you know, which brings me to what comes next, right? And this eclipse and blood moon, it will be the longest lunar eclipse for 600 years, right? And remember, in the ancient Jewish text, there is some symbolic meanings when it comes to solar and lunar eclipses and blood moons, right? And a solar eclipse is a bad omen for the world. A lunar eclipse means a bad omen for Israel, right? And Israel means he who wrestles with God. God is Elohim, right? Which means the supreme ones or supreme magistrates or Nephilim, right? So he who wrestles with the fallen or the God of this world, which would be us, right? You, me, and anybody that is aware of the things I'm speaking of right now. You're wrestling with God right now, right? So a lunar eclipse is a bad omen for Israel, and then the blood moon means the coming of a sword. And this is going to be the longest one in 600 years, and it will probably be a blood moon as well. So that means it'll be the coming of a sword and the bad omen for Israel. So the coming of a sword for Israel, if you look at what the symbolism actually is saying to you, you know. And you have to keep in mind also that through the Revelations 12 prophecy that began September 23rd, 2017, preceded by the Great American Eclipse, we've seen the midpoint of that December 14th, 2020, 7 days before the Great Conjunction, which was the end of the age, right? And that's, now we're walking into the birthing pangs. And on the exact 1,260 days, we've seen the passing of the next sign, right? It says, and another sign appeared in heaven, an enormous red dragon, which means a fabulous kind of serpent. And that was asteroid Apophis, or Apepi, right? He's a giant fucking serpent. That's what he actually is. And he passed on the precise date. Even Nostradamus predicted the same thing, right? Talking about Venus being occulted by the sun and Mercury's light revealing an occult figure, which is Comet Enki. And now we have the Northern Taurids, which is the complex that Comet Enki is a part of. Enki is Lucifer, right? This would be your Antichrist, right? All of it's coming out. And asteroid Apophis had the number 99942, right? 999, flip it around because you're in the upside down, right? Remember, Samael created a reflection of the heavens above. So whenever you look at a puddle of water, your reflection is inverted, right? And the firmament separates the waters above and below, so we're upside down. That's why our eyes, when we see an image, it has to flip it the right way up because we're seeing it upside down. We're in the inversion. That's why Christ would say, "Verily, verily, I say unto you," or "Truly, truly, I say unto you." He was trying to show you that he was speaking truth both ways, right? There wasn't an inverse to what he was saying. And we have the 99942, which is 666, or 9 in numerology, which represents completion, right? The end of a cycle, and the final 42 months. And this 42 months is when the beast is unleashed on the saints, right? This is when it overcomes the saints. That's where we're at right now. And that's why I think this eclipse is so significant, guys. I've told you that I believe, and this is my opinion, that around Christmas or the first of the year, I would say, I think we are probably going to, and you can take my word for it or not, it's really totally up to you on this one, but I have like this strong feeling that, and we're even seeing it being telegraphed here, that the dark winter, right, that there could be power grids down and the internet apocalypse and all of that, right, because they have to control the flow of information. Remember, I showed you guys the suicide note written by the ICE agent in 2016 before he killed himself on Pier 40, right, 40 years, 40 days, right, it's always the same shit, in New York City. Right, and he wrote that letter, the suicide note, talking about everything that they were going to do before they did it, including the dispatching of the federal agents. And before Trump left office, we seen all of that, right? In October, they got us ready for the martial law with the manpower guidance activation for civil deployment. Then the Future of Health Summit, they were talking about beaming, an individual variant into all of our homes, and avian flu, and changing our perception of it, and creating RNA stuff that we see now, right? All of that, premeditated, SPARS, Event 201, I mean, on and on and on, right? Like, they've had this ready in their back pocket, waiting on this moment. This is their time. Their time is short. And that's why they're blocking out the sun right now. That's why they're doing all of this. It's to keep us from mutating ourselves. I believe that when we look at the Nemesis system, and this is just an opinion, I guess, I can't really prove it, except outside of geological data that shows that every time there's been destruction or cataclysm, everything on the surface of the earth mutated, right? You look at the soil, everything changed, right? Whether it was a fish, a frog, a fucking dog, it doesn't matter. It altered in some way after the different ages and periods end, right? Cambrian, Cretaceous, Jurassic, Triassic, right? All of these different periods where there's been cataclysms, each time they end, the same species seem to reemerge for the most part. Some don't, but most do. And they're different. They're mutated. So that leads me to believe, and I heard this very early on when I started doing this, that the whole blue and red Kachina, and and you can buy into that if you want. That's totally up to you, right? But they give off, and think about how our governors or our watchers, our planets right now, they're the 7 rays, right? They give off the rainbow, right? That's the covenant right there, right? The 7 rays of light, the different spectrums of light. Those are the planets. Those are the watchers, right? Those are the governors, the archons, whatever you want to call them, right? Those are your Olympians, okay? And each one of those spectrums of light has a frequency, and that's what creates our reality. That's what astrology and alchemy and all of those studies come from is at what position or what point in time you were conceived and what frequencies were actually coming into the earth at that particular moment, right? When you were conceived, and that's how they create a horoscope, natal charts, the whole nine, right? So think about a dark star now coming, and I forget the name of it. It's not Quetzalcoatl, but it's the other one, his brother. It starts with a T. Does anybody know the name of Quetzalcoatl's brother? He's the dark one. Does anybody know what Quetzalcoatl's brother's name is? It's Tiwanaku or something like that. Does anybody know what I'm talking about, or am I the only one? Is this just me out here in space floating? No, you don't. Yep. Is it Tiwanaku or something like that? Is that what it is? But he's the dark star. I always well, what's his name? If you know, tell me the name if you know, please. No. Am I stumbling on like a fucking, I don't know. I don't know why I look at the chat anymore. It's just on some whole other left field shit. But he's supposed to represent the dark star, and you have the red and the blue kachina, and the blue gives off gamma radiation, which actually, yeah, I don't know how to spell it, but that's correct. Okay, thank you. Thank you, the one person in the fucking chat. Thank you. I appreciate that. You one person that actually is listening. It's cool, man. It's real. It's like it's super long, like the name is, but it's like Tiwanaku or something like that, man. I don't know. I'm probably saying it wrong too. You're doing great, John. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. But he represents the darkness, the dark star, the shadow self, right? And that's why we're being faced with our shadow in this moment right now, right? This is all about the shadow, the dark side, and it's the coming of this dark star. And in each cycle, I believe, and once again, and I have to keep prefacing these things with my opinion, I believe, because it's not fact, right? Like it's theory, I guess, or speculation. I got a lot to back it up, and I got a lot to support a lot of the shit I say, but I can't say it, for certain. I know who Quetzalcoatl is. It's his brother. Here, fuck it. Let's just get it. I want to get the name because I want to show you what his name is. That way I don't get it wrong here. But anyways, each destruction, in my opinion, is a different celestial sphere that comes around, right? So each one of these cycles, and you can look into a lot of different beliefs. This is not just me that believes this. This is a lot of different ancient wisdom says this, that, you can say Nibiru or, red and blue kachina. Maybe they're the only ones that come each and every time, but there's some schools of thought that say that a different star comes for different destructions, right? Like one particular star might come for earthquakes and inundation through that type of destruction. Another star might come for, the wind, right? The evil wind and those type of things. Another star might be what comes and brings deluge and flooding, right? You see what I'm saying? Like for the different elements, it could be a different star associated with said elements. And in this moment in time where we are now, it's Quetzalcoatl's brother that's actually responsible for the darkness. And that's what this is, the coming of the dark star. And this is the end of this long cycle, or the long count, right? And that's according to the Mayans, or also I believe it is probably stolen from the Aztecs. And when you look at the Ethiopian calendar, 2012 was actually in 2020, right? So the long count actually ended, less than a year ago. So we're actually at the end of the age now. And think about it, in 2020 is when we actually seen the Great Conjunction in the end of the age. Let's see if it has his name here in this. Right here. I bet it does. See, Aztec mythology. See, there's, like I said, there it is. Tetza. Yeah, I'm right here. Tetzitlipoca or something like that. Tetzitlipoca. I'm trying to say it the right way, but this is him. This is the one that I'm talking about, guys. Let's see if we can. Oh, damn, we gotta do all that shit? Nah, I don't want to do all that. Just show the fucking thing. Alright, boom. Okay. Tetzitlipoca is, and it says Tetzitlipoca was a central deity in the Aztec religion, and his main festival was the Toxcatl ceremony, celebrated in the month of May. And one of the four sons of Ometuli and Ometai, the god of providence. He is associated with a wide range of concepts, including the night sky, night, darkness, right? And the night winds, hurricanes, the evil winds, the north. And remember, when all of this shit happens, and I've shown this, how in the book of Exodus, it talks about it coming out of the north, right? And the north means the hidden or space, right? The hidden or the deep, right? And look, he comes from the north, right? The earth, obsidian, hostility, discord, rulership, divination, temptation, jaguars, sorcery, beauty, war, and conflict. And you see right now the elites trying to bring in the Saturnian age, right? Which is a death cult, a darkness cult, right? They're blocking out the sun, right? This is all in a ritualistic preparation for this cat, right? That's what it is. And notice he's one of the four brothers, right? And these are the four angles, right? Like in the swastika. Right here. These four angles, that's also the tetragrammaton. I don't know if you knew that or not. But SS and the swastika are other variations of the tetragrammaton, which is the name of God. For real, right? And the four angles are 490-degree angles or angels, the four horsemen, the four winds, north, east, west, south, news, right? The four cardinal directions, right? And look at the Hopi prophecy, and it talks about the brothers. What is it? And I've done said these names, so now it's got my brain all jumbled up. But it's what are the two brothers of the poles? Nangasohu. No, that's not it. I'll have to pull it up, I think. Anybody remember the RSS number? So, yes, Tim. See, dude, you're a fucking genius, bro. Tim always be catching shit, man. Yes, RSS number. Exactly, bro. Exactly. Rebuke their curses? Absolutely. Hitler went to hell? Just saying. Well, you know, I have no problem with that. He was a piece of shit. But that's why you see Trump was compared to him. We're in the Fourth Reich now. This is the Fourth Reich, right? fourth brother, right? Fourth conflagration, fourth cycle. And I talk about this all the time, right? The 3,600, 6,500, 12,500, and 20,000 year cycles. And in the 20,000 year cycles, Saturn is actually returning to the throne. Satan's returning to the throne. This is the brother of darkness, right? Or become Walt Disney. Dude, that's another tale for another day. But yes, I think Hitler was Walt Disney. Possibly. Possibly. Hiding in plain sight. Exactly. Look, and here, let me show you. I'll show you it's a tetragrammaton too, right? Which is Yah-Hod-Veh, right? Like Yahweh, right? And remember, you take it to the I think it's the Arabic, and it's A-U-A-I, right? Gold and artificial intelligence. And then look at the Eternals, right? I just gotta keep pointing you to this. They're showing you every fucking thing in the Eternals right now, dude. Look at the God in the Eternals. And let me make sure you have sound.
5 years ago, Thanos erased half of the population of the universe. But the people of this planet...
Notice she comes fucking up on a black rider on a black horse. Death and Hades, death and hell following behind. Right? That's the fourth horse, guys.
5 years ago, Thanos erased half of the population of the universe. But the people of this planet brought everyone back with a snap of a finger. The sudden return of the population provided the necessary energy for the emergence to begin.
How long do we have?
7 days.
7 days. A day or 1,000 years is a day to God. It's a 7,000 year or 7 day creation cycle, guys. They're showing you the whole shit.
We're Eternals. We came here 7,000 years ago
See, they came 7,000
to
years
protect
ago.
humans from the deviants.
And notice the deviants, devils, right? They're fucking dinosaurs with wings, right? They're reptilians with wings because they're fallen angels.
Why didn't you guys help fight Thanos? Or any war, or all the other terrible things throughout history?
And notice too, Thanos would be like Theta, right? Or is that the name Theta? Is it Theta, right? The planet that they said they have found 2 giant pieces of that actually hit the Earth. You see what I'm saying? Thanos came, wiped out half the world's population. Theta came and wiped out half the world's population. Right? It's all the same shit. They're telling you the whole fucking thing.
We were instructed not to interfere in any human conflicts unless the
See? Nuclear war.
deviants are involved.
By who?
Boom, motherfucker. And there it is. Right there. Notice, he's the 6th god, right? The 6th god. Right there, dude. That's Saturn. That's Tequila Poca or whatever, right? That's the Dark Star. That's Nemesis. That's him. And notice what he is. A-U-A-I. Right? Gold and artificial intelligence. Gold is a representation of the spirit. He is spirit and artificial intelligence. Right? And Nostradamus quatrain 944, 9 completion, 44 kill, right? A sacrifice of completion, right? When Saturn turns from gold to iron, right? Gold to iron. He comes into AI, right? Boom, right there, right in your face. And Geneva is destroyed, which is the Large Hadron Collider, where they smash the Higgs boson, or the God particle, right? Like what's happening right here, soul luminescence, the star in a jar, right? Because we are heavenly host. We are going through a prism or a crystal ball that we call a firmament through the 7 rays or 7 spectrums of the rainbow, right? That create the holographic electromagnetic projection we call reality, right? And in the beginning, in Genesis, it says we were made in the image of God, which means a phantom, a projection, an illusion. You are AI too, probably, in a organic type of way.
We need to find the others.
I haven't seen some of them for centuries.
Hi.
Hello.
This is what the end of the world looks like. At least we have front row seats.
You know what's never saved the planet? Your sarcasm.
It's all there,
We've
bro.
loved these people since the day we arrived. When you love something, you protect it.
And just saying, you know, their task is to harvest us, right? When you love something, you protect it. They're not protecting us for the reason you would think, just to keep it real. It's because they need to leech on us for a life source, right? Because they're disconnected from the source, from the creator. So they use us like a battery, like in the Matrix. They're not protecting us because they give a fuck at all, right? Or they wouldn't keep us restricted in physical bodies and try to dumb us down the way that they do. But see, the coming of these stars, right? They're creating the transfiguration. When you see him, you will be like him, right? It says that. When we see him, we will be like him. Well, who is him? He's a luminary, a heavenly host, right? You will become a heavenly host, a star, illuminated, right? And perhaps some of us, I believe at least, already have been in that state before, and we chose to come here now to assist the rest of us to get out, right? I think we are probably the ones who fell, you know, and we either chose to do this as part of some type of system of growth for our consciousness, our soul, our spirit, and the veil of forgetfulness is what, you know, you could say maybe it's for pure entertainment because we're infinite. I don't know. I doubt it's for that. I think it's for something different. But somehow or another, when you look at the story of Prometheus, he stole that spark of life, right? And mixed it with clay, you know, and that created man, you know, so we were stolen from heaven. I like to look at it like that. Instead of us falling or rebelling from God, right? Saying, oh, we don't like the source anymore. We don't like our Father, our Creator anymore, and we're fighting against Him. I don't think that's how it went down. I think we were taken from that state. Everything would almost kind of indicate that too when you look at the 2 serpents in the garden. We were actually talking about this the other day when Justin was joining me about Yahweh and Lucifer, the 2 soul complexes, and it pans out too in the double helix or the 2 serpents in our DNA, right? The mammal and the reptile, Nox or the night god, right? Like we were just talking about, the bull god, El, right? And he's the unchanging God. That would be the Yahweh complex. And then you have the Seraph or the Aryan, Aries, right? Marduk, which would be the flying god, right? Or the fabulous kind of serpent, right? Like, so, you we have both of those components within us, and perhaps we're here to grow and evolve, but who's to say that we weren't in a state of perfection before? And something about all of this feels like we're more fuel for the fire for these other entities than anything. And there's even depictions in Sumerian texts and tablets that show these gods riding us, literally riding us, right? Our kundalini. We are our spirit is the kundalini. So when you hear like kundalini awakenings, and I'm not telling you to, go do any rituals or initiations or anything for a kundalini awakening, but I'm saying the whole word and everything associated with it is a representation of the living element inside of you. And that would actually be the real you, right? You would be that kundalini, right? And perhaps the demonic side or the persona, the ego, right? The mask side of us, the darkness. Think about it. It's riding that kundalini right now, right? So everything that you think of as yourself is nothing but a distortion, right? It's the reflection of you. It's not you, and that's a hard thing for people to overcome, because from the moment of birth, we associate everything with identity of I, me, right? And we create the individual persona and separate ourselves from everyone and everything. And there is no wholeness or balance of the all in our perception of the world. And that's what creates the division. And that is the fall, right? And that's what Samael did. That's how he sinned against the entirety, by saying, it's I who am God and none are apart from me, right? And he heard himself, right? He heard himself and he was divided. The persona, the mask, the ego is what hears you, right? You're hearing yourself, right? Because you have two brains. You're divided, left and right, masculine, feminine, male, female, Mars, Venus, higher, lower. And that's what the Star of David or the Star of Moloch even represents, is that higher and lower nature, those two halves. We're at that point, and that's why we're seeing everything around us right now deteriorate, because that's the time it is, right? This guy, Tekalipoka. And look at what he does. Smoking mirror. He's translated as a smoking mirror, a black mirror. You get me? It's technology, a black mirror. It's D-Wave, it's AI, it's all of that. Let me show you. And he's probably Yahweh, this guy. Keep it real. He's probably Yahweh. Just saying. And I have some different depictions of the Tetragrammaton. See? Kind of small. But you can see there, right? The swastika. The white power lightning bolts are the SS. Right? Right there. That's the Tetragrammaton. Right there. And our depictions of Jesus. Hands nailed, feet nailed. Tetragrammaton also. And the four angles, or the four horsemen who make up the Holy One. Right? The whole is a circle. The circle of life, right? Of death and rebirth. And that's the construct of time. Chronos. That's that big six god looking thing that you just seen on the Eternals trailer. That's Kronos right there. And see, smoking mirror, and alludes to his connection to obsidian, the material from which mirrors were made in Mesoamerica and which were used for shamanic rituals and prophecy. Another talisman related to Tezcatlipoca was a disc worn as a chest pectoral. A disc, right? A disc, like the sun disc, right? Saturn sun, the Saturnian death cult, Aten, the Aten, right? Akhenaten. And Akhenaten is Moses or Moshe, who talked to the burning bush, right? In the coming of the destroyer, the parting of the Red Seas. There's nothing new under the sun. That's him. The material from which mirrors were made in Mesoamerica. And another talisman related to Tezcatlipoca was a disc worn as a chest pectoral. And this talisman was carved out of abalone shell and depicted on the chest of both Huitzilopochtli and Tezcatlipoca in codex illustrations. He had many epithets which alluded to different aspects of his deity. Tiliquan, we are his slaves. His deity. Tiliquan, we are his slaves. And Palamoni, he by whom we live. Nyak Yodel, enemy of both sides. And Tok Nahui, Lord of the near and the nigh. Right? God is nigh, right? The time is nigh. You get me? And Yahuli Ikado, night and wind. Night, Nox, not Pan, that's the Pan God, right? Or the Lord, right? And the evil wind, okay? And to read. Remember, Inky, when he spoke to Vayasudra, he spoke to the reed wall, right? And Hiakua Tilapaki, possessor of the sky and earth. Possessor of the sky and earth. This guy is Inky. Has to be. When depicted, he was usually drawn with a black and yellow stripe painted across his face, black and gold, like Trump Tower, right? Like Mecca, the black cube. We making some connections here? He's drawn with black and yellow stripes painted across his face. He's often shown with his right foot replaced with an obsidian mirror, bone, or a snake, a serpent, right? An allusion to creation myth in which he loses his foot battling with the earth monster, Tiamat. Tiamat, that's the earth monster. Guys, it's the Holy Spirit. He's Nibiru. He's Saturn, he's a dragon, he's Nemesis. He's the Dark Lord. This is Inky. This is all of the above. This is Yahweh. This is the whole nine. This is crazy as fuck too. And the earth monster is Tiamat. And you guys know because on this channel we have looked at what's called the Cthulhu's mythos, right? And Cthulhu's is the masculine serpent and Tiamat is the feminine serpent, right? And I was actually just listening to something today that was talking about the sun and the moon and how we actually think that our sun is masculine, right? And we look at it as even the word, right? When you have a boy, you call it a son, right? A son. But it's actually feminine. And that the sun is a girl, essentially, right? It's a feminine energy. And feminine energy is creation energy. And the moon is male or masculine. And we see the moon depicted as a female, right? And we see the moon Luna or Celine, right? It's always depicted like a girl or something, right? But truth be told, the moon is translucent as it's waxing and waning, and basically the way it goes through the cycles of the sun and the moon is essentially ejaculating into the sun, and the sun is birthing life energy through what we would call coronal mass ejections, solar flares, or it comes out in the form of morning dew, right? In the morning and in the springtime, right? That's the most potent energy of life, right? And the waxing and waning of the moon, when you see the full moon, is when it's the phallic symbol. And in some ancient cultures, the moon is just depicted as a phallic symbol, period. And it's totally erect when it's a full moon, right? And it's ejaculating into the sun. And the sun is the womb of life, and it's birthing life down onto us, right? And it's at its peak energy when we have sunrise and the morning dew, and in the springtime is its season of peak energy as well, and it represents birth, new life, right? So the sun is actually feminine, and everything that we've been taught is inverted, right? It's inverted. Look at all of the secret societies. All that they do, all that they show, depicts the patriarchy and masculine. You know what I mean? And it's to essentially turn it all upside down, because that's what this place is, right? It is an inversion. And if we went into a higher dimension past the sun, then the next sun would be masculine, right? Because it keeps going. Each thing is a reflection of the other. Micro, macro. So at the level above this, the sun would be a masculine, and it would be vice versa. But where we are right now in this current dimensional reality, this current creation, the sun is feminine, and everything is an attack on the feminine energy, which is the creation energy. And we have demonized it big time. Big time. And I've always said this too, and now I know why I felt like this. And this is like a kind of a newer revelation for me. When you look at a woman, which is like the physical reflection of that sun, right? She has the power of life and death. You know, she can give life, she can kill too if she wanted, right? Life and death. And that's why, you know, the masculine energy is supposed to protect that, right? Because it's sacred. And if you look at the story of Kingu, who is the moon, and Tiamat, right? He loved her so much, that's why he became the moon. Right, was to orbit and protect her, you know, to make sure she was safe, because she held life, right? That's the story of Kingu and Tiamat. Tiamat was in charge, though. You know, Kingu was just the commander of her army, and she gave him the breastplate of destiny, right? And then the gods they sent Marduk, or Yahweh, or Tetzalcoatl, right, to destroy Tiamat. And Nibiru destroyed Tiamat, broke her open in pieces, and they mined her golden veins. And we are those golden veins. We are Tiamat, in my opinion. We are most definitely Tiamat. And we're the one that they're demonizing as the evil thing that devours all. And the reason it's depicted as such is because light destroys darkness. Right? Light destroys darkness. So of course it would be depicted as something that devoured all, because in a world of matter and darkness and distortion, if you turn on a light, the darkness flees from it. Right? So darkness would demonize light to be the bad guy. And they've inverted our perception of reality completely. So we see darkness as the good and light as the bad. And remember that the Bible says in the last days, like, this would happen. You know, we would call evil good, and, you know, vice versa. And that's what we're doing right now. We're in that place right now, you know. And I don't know if, well, I do know. Not everybody is meant to have this knowledge for whatever reason. Not everybody is meant to hold this, to have this. But everybody could if they wanted it. Right? It's accessible to all of us. And this harvest that's taking place, and you see when it talks about how they were butchered, which means a sacrifice or a ritual, right? We are his slaves and all of that. And then how we were talking about the Yahweh and Lucifer complex just the other day, right? And the 98% harvest, right? The matter all returns back to Satan, or the darkness, and the light, or Tiamat, or the feminine is what is the spark of, it's that breath. That's what God breathed into our nostrils. It's what makes it all happen, right? It's what makes it all happen, what makes it all possible. We are the very thing that allows for the creation of planet upon planet, man. And thank you so much, Mandy. You are amazing. I don't usually see the super chats because I'm too busy in my shit. But thank you. I appreciate you for that. That's very kind of you. Thank you so much, Mandy. You're awesome. You are amazing, Mandy. And you know what? You know, people like her are here every show, man. You know, every show. And that's, like, you gotta appreciate that. Like, I don't know how people can become so arrogant, you know, content creators can, because it's the most humbling experience I've ever had, is to be in the presence of people that you guys raise my vibe to a point that I can't even explain. It's like just the fact that you're watching, like, I'm channeling you right now, whether you believe that or not, if that makes sense, you know. Like, that's what the social distancing is all about, right? Our heart generating that electromagnetic field, right? 6-foot radius, the ripple effect, you know. And that's why they want to keep you away from me, because when I speak, it touches you and you touch others, and we just, it's like a virus, but in a good way, right? We're spreading the light. We're spreading the knowledge, and you're seeing it happening right now in front of your eyes, right? People are not going along with the agenda as as you would think they would. People are saying, I'll quit my job first. I'll go without first. No, not everybody. Not everybody. Some people lack faith, right? And you can call it faith in God, however you understand it, but it's faith in the higher good, you know? And it's never been so evident to me as it is right now, by the way. The more I learn, the more I know now. That it's not a contest, it's not a competition here. We have won already, like a stunning defeat, too. And in the twinkling of an eye. And that's why we have to hold on and just brace for all of this to kind of play out. You know, right now, it looks bad, you know, from the world's perspective and the world's point of view. When we're looking at everything that's taking place, it looks like shit. And it's like, damn, they're going to kill all of us, you know? Operation Legend. They dispatched federal agents to all 50 states. What do you think they're there for? Operation Legend. Legend. Heroes of old. Men of renown. That means a Nephilim. Right? It's the war against the saints. When they knock the power grid out, they're coming for us. They're coming for us. We're next on the list. And that's why this longest eclipse, or longest lunar eclipse in 600 years is so significant. It's signifying the next stage. The next stage, the next phase. I'll show you, man. I don't just make shit up, by the way. And we're going to talk about the two witnesses, too, here in a moment. But let me show you this first. Right here. Look. Just like I just showed you. We're seeing this right now. The balance scale. Right now. Right? That's the mandates. Okay? He had a balance scale, which means a coupling, right? To shackle your ass into servitude through law or obligation. It's your mandates, guys. That's what it is. And Biden is double-minded is what it means. And I think Biden actually might be Trump. I'm keeping it real. I know that sounds weird as fuck and so off the wall. But when it talks about the two beasts of Revelations, that second one is just the image of the first beast. And I'll show you interviews where he literally, his hand goes through microphones and stuff. And remember when the transition happened, right after Trump and the C-19, right? Which that was taking the wound to the head and living, right? Which is a scourge or an affliction. And we looked at the gematria with Walter Reed Hospital and all of that, and he made a surprise appearance, and Trump was a hologram inside of that black, SUV, if you guys remember, right? And even the 2017, I think it was, Economist magazine showed Trump, and it had like the symmetry on his face showing he was like AI, right? He had like become one with the beast, man. And I think Biden is that image of that beast. And he was the one who was, or is and is not, right? Remember the king who was and is but is not, right? That's Biden, which would, also be the image of the first guy. And like I said, watch my assimilation videos and you'll see the whole hyperflesh thing and all of it, and it'll fuck you up because it'll show you that this puppet show that you're watching on television and all of it. And we look at the Smith-Mund Act and how they're allowed to lie to you and spin state-run propaganda on you through the mainstream media. It's all legal, like the whole nine. It's wizardry. It's sorcery. You're in the 42 months now. It's all illusion. It's all Tetzalapoca, smoke and mirrors. Right? And look. Where is it at here? See? Balance scale in his hand. Then I heard something like a voice from the four living creatures saying, a quart of wheat will cost a day's pay, and 3 quarts of barley will cost a day's pay. But do not damage the olive oil and the wine. The olive oil and the wine. That's us, guys. It's the harvest. Do not damage the olive oil and the wine. The wheat and the tares, right? Like, they're still destroying darkness right now. Okay? But they don't want to touch the high reaching fruit, right? The high hanging fruit, which is us. Not yet. And then the fourth seal. I heard the fourth living creature. And here came a pale green horse, right? The compliance. The green agenda. The green passport. The whole nine. Into the beast system. And the one who rode it was Death and Hades. Right? Tetzalapoca. Right? Nemesis. The Destroyer. Nibiru. However you want to say it, right? The dragon. Death and hell follow right behind. Fire follow right behind. And they were given authority over a fourth of the earth to kill its population with the sword, famine, and disease. And by the wild animals of the earth, the wild animals, or the beasts of the field, or the Gentiles, which are the Goyim, or the Golem, right? And remember, a Golem is a soulless being to be used for the will of whatever purpose they want it to serve. Those are your NPCs, your non-player characters, your normies. Those are your delta waves right there. They're the wild animals. It says when Israel is surrounded on all sides by enemies, flee. Those in Judea flee. Right? You get me? When Israel is surrounded on all sides by enemies. When they're marked. These Golem, these Goyim. When they're marked. Right? The wild animals. And wild animals, if you look at it, where's that? Look what it says. Dangerous animal, a wild animal, as in game, a venomous wild beast. They're serpents. They're beasts of the field. They're soulless. They're marked. Right? They don't have the seal of God on their foreheads. Trump built the third temple. Operation Warp Speed. Right? Which was the ancient symbol for the astral cord. Or the silver cord. Right? Which connects your soul to your body. Right? First temple, second temple, third temple. Right? When you see the abomination of desolation in the place of God, flee. Right? The abomination that causes desolation. And just like what we opened up with tonight, that, movie or whatever it was from, they used ultraviolet light, right? Like a black light. And I've showed you guys the videos of the Luciferos and how if you take a black light, their veins are lit up and their hand. Their veins are lit up. So, and the nasal in their forehead, it's the pineal. That's the place of God. It's the third temple. Right? So Israel is surrounded on all sides. And I told you also that the Hydra vulgaris is creating the neural network within them. And we see the crystallization within their system to create that matrix. And their carbon is being replaced by the graphene. And you know what signal they're receiving? And this is the craziest part. And now I know why in my dream, my vision that made me start this channel. I know why now. I know what I was being shown now. Tetzalapoca. He's the signal. The dark star is the signal. It's not 5G. That's not what controls them. It's Nemesis. It's Satan. That's the signal they're going to receive. Radio frequency or millimeter wave. That's the signal they're going to receive. Hail Hydra. Right? Hydra vulgaris. Vulgar. Right? And it's fucking mind-blowing when you think about it. It is mind-blowing. They are the walking dead. The dead are walking the earth right now. Right now. And we're witnessing this. We are the two witnesses. Guys. But see, when the Lamb opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar of souls of those who had been violently killed because of the word of God and because of the testimony they had given. Now peep this out. Because of the word of God, something said, right? Or a conversation like what I'm doing with you right now. And because of the testimony or the evidence they had given. The conversation about the evidence they had given. Do you see how this connects to you? And that's why he who loses his life will find it. They did not love their lives so much that they were afraid to die. Jesus was the example. Pick up your cross and follow me. Christianity, and you take the letters and rearrange them, and it's Antichrist, is the apostate church, the end times apostasy, the church of Laodicea. They're lukewarm. They're neither hot nor cold, right? But Lord, Lord, didn't we cast out demons in your name? Get away from me, you doers of iniquity. I never knew you. They have created a religion, a religion, where they don't have to carry their cross. They don't follow Christ, truly. They worship him. There's a difference. There's a difference. And And I know that will probably offend a lot of people. And I'm sorry. But it's true. And the truth is the truth. You know, whether you like it or you don't. It's called cognitive dissonance. When you can't accept it for what it is. You have to understand you were given that truth, man. You didn't come up with that on your own. It wasn't organic. It didn't bloom out of your heart like real truth does. Someone handed it to you and put it on you and said, wear this. This is the way you see the world. You don't have to listen anymore. You don't have to do it anymore. Like, if you're really looking at you, then you will see. You'll have your own truth. And it's the truth that actually sets you free. You won't be waiting on a rapture to be raped and captured. It's not even biblical at all. At all. Comes from the Schofield Study Bible. Printed by a Freemasonic printing press funded by Jesuits. They hate the truth, so I'll send them a strong delusion causing them to believe the lie. The one unforgivable sin is to blaspheme the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth. The whole deity worship is just worshiping Lucifer. That's all it is. That's what it is. Jesus, the Son of Man, was offered the world and he said no. He was offered to be worshipped. He said no. That was his test. He was tested. Now you're being tested. That's what tribulation is. It's a trial. It's a test. Those who endure to the end will be saved. Those who endure to the end. And for some of us, most of us, that end is not very far. Not very far at all. Behold, he's coming on the cloud. The cloud means the Spirit. Right? Every knee will bow, even those who pierced him. You starting to see it now? Pierced you. You will give your life for this. Or you will capitulate. That's why they're attacking your physical life in every way, shape, form, and facet. We have a small moment upon collapse where we go into the wilderness and live off wild locust and honey, which is also spiritual. But if you look at who the 144,000 are, they warn people up until the end, and they don't listen. And the time of warning is over now. It's over now. It's almost over now. Like, that's why we know all we know now. Notice how it unfolded little by little, and it was only what we could handle at that time. You know what I mean? Like if I dropped this bomb on you a year ago, you couldn't have took it. You know? If I dropped this bomb on you 2 years ago, you damn sure couldn't have taken it. You would have lost your faith. You would have fell away. You had to be built up for it, strengthened for it, conditioned for it. You know? But we have been, is a good part of it all. We're stronger now than we ever have been before. And I can't tell you that you won't need a person like me to say a fucking word to you very soon. Very soon. Because you will see it and you'll feel it yourself if you don't already. It'll be that palpable, that real. I promise you. When the destruction happens, it breaks the veil. It breaks it. You will begin to remember things of yourself you've never remembered before. Maybe other lives you've lived. You will begin to know things that we're already doing it. Right? Things that are unknowable. But we'll just know. Like the things that you're going to have access to. Like the whole miracles and walking on water and the whole nine. You're walking on water right now, by the way. Your body's 80% water. You know, your spirit's doing it. It's what it means to walk on water. To be on top of it. You know, it's about mastering this vehicle, this vessel, this temple. Not everybody is ready. You wish more would wake up. Wish more would wake up. They want our asses dead. Yes. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. It's in our faces. Yes, it is, Shelly. It's absolutely in our faces. Yes, it is. Yeah, they're not hiding it. They're not hiding it at all. You know? What's the point? The masses are in Delta. They're asleep. And remember, Omega, you know, Omega's the end. You know? But who has the Alpha and the Omega in them, actually? See what I'm saying? They're programmed, in my opinion, for self-destruction. They can't help doing what they're doing. I feel sorry for them, actually. I really do. And now I see why they're so jealous of us and why they hate us so much. It all makes perfect sense to me now. It's like, wow. They're blind. They think they know, but they have no idea. You know? That's why they're calling on the mountains to hide them from the one who sits on the throne. Because he's here to eat them. Not us. Them. The ones who serve him. Kronos devours his children, remember? So Tezcatlipoca will be devouring them. We need a leader to lead us. Well, it's the Holy Spirit. That is your leader. That is your You know, that's all you need, your heart. That's your compass, man. You know, that's your compass, and that's what will lead you. And you'll never go wrong if you follow that, I believe. You'll never go wrong if you follow that, if you're true to that. You blow me away. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad, man. You know, I'm glad. They're more liking comas. I know, man. I know. It's like they're smoking dope, huh? Do you think there will be a 1,000-year reign? Yeah, I do. Yes, I do. But I don't know what that will look like. You know, 1,000-year millennial reign. It's a day. It's one day to God. So what will that look like? I have no clue. Will that just mean the absence of evil for 1,000 years, or the absence of us for 1,000 years? You have to understand that the Bible is actually the most it's a book of Kabbalah, you know, of numerology, of magic, of sorcery, more than any other book in the world. You know, it has more of that than anything that you can find. And a lot of it's been distorted. And they put the truth in it, but they distort it in a way that way when you read it, you'll see what they want you to see instead of what is. You know? What do you think about Astroland? Was it a test of their technology? I did a video on it. I did a video on Astroworld. It was a ritual sacrifice, in my opinion. And you know what? The whole 8 and completion, the 8 dead and all of that, the 8 flames, that's why it was so big. They put it out there to signify the job's complete. That's what 8 means in numerology. It means the accomplishment of something, like you finished something. You know? Accomplishment of a task. The completion of a task. They were showing you the job's done with the Astroworld shit. That's what they were showing you. And that's why and I do believe those people were crisis actors too. The ones up at the cameraman and all of that, that's what it is. Remember, he's smoking mirrors, right? That's Tezcatlipoca smoking mirrors. You know? Now, check this out. Republicans saying Trump likely to be reinstated by year's end jumps to 28%. Now, let me show you something too. He was 88 when he was president. You guys remember the 8, right? 88, right? 8 means the accomplishment of a goal. 2 8s, 88, okay, or 10, right, which is actually 1, right, and 2 times 8, 16, which would only be 6, okay, so they're putting it all out here for you. Black and gold tower, Tezcatlipoca. 7 springs, 7 judgment. Trump and Pence, trumpets, judgment. Solar cycle 25, 2 plus 5, 7, judgment. 7 seals, 7 lampstands, judgment, judgment, judgment. 7-year tribulation, judgment. guy, Julius Caesar, right? And you know what? Everything, and dude, it fucking blows my damn mind, just to keep it real, the shit that we've uncovered on this channel, down to the Nostradamus prophecies. And you guys will remember in year 1999, the Angel Moy, or the month of the angel, right? And we were talking about Set, Satan, July, Julius Caesar, 999, right? And Apophis, and all of this, all of the stones we've unturned. If this world actually rewarded truth, man, everybody would know what's up. I mean, right now. Like, seriously, they have... I can't believe the things we've done together. Honestly. I can't believe the shit we've found together. Like, for real, for real. And here we are. They're talking about bringing this cat back. Now, you tell me he wouldn't be, that guy if he comes back. A new poll found that Republicans, and remember, red and blue, solar, lunar, right? These are just bull god and the serpent, same shit, that think Donald Trump will likely be reinstated as president before the end of 2021. The survey by economist YouGov was conducted between November 6 and 9, right? And surveyed by 1,500 Americans. You drop the zeros, 15, 1 and 5. The Masonic Black Cube for Saturn, right? 6. One of the questions that the respondents answered was, how likely or unlikely do you think it is that Donald Trump will be reinstated as president before the end of 2021? 13% of Republicans surveyed in November. 13, the aeon or level of heaven that Tiamat or Pistis Sophia fell from, right? 13 also represents the Passover. The original Passover was on the second month, and that's why you keep seeing the 2s as well, right? In the 13th day. And that would be the passing over of the Dark Lord, or Tetzalapoca, right? The Destroyer. And 13% of Republicans surveyed in November said that it is very likely that the former president would be reinstated, compared only to 11, which means sin, right? Unleavened bread. God, leaven, God of sin, right? 11, the twin towers, right? The solar and lunar, the two pillars, the two becoming one. 11% of Republicans who said in October poll, 8, the spider, right? And also the Ouroboros, or 8, the completion of a goal. Do you see how they put this in everything? Do you see why words are the keys to the car here, guys? Like, there's levels to this shit. You know what I mean? And through time, as we've been doing this, a lot of this, for myself, I can only speak for myself, has been reading between the lines on the shit that they say, you know, and seeing it so much, the numbers, the words, the names, to where you see the repetition and the patterns start to become evident. You know, these are the spells that they're casting, right? They're broadcasting, right? That's what they're doing. News. You know, the 4 angles, the 4 horsemen, they're broadcasting those elements. Republicans who said that Trump will somewhat likely be reinstated before 2021 ends increased from 11%. And see what I'm saying? Look, to October to 15. Once again, the Masonic Black Cube 1 and 5, 6 in November. Right? Fucking crazy. Fucking crazy. In Set, or Sept, September, Trump hinted that he could be reinstated as president if it was a possibility due to what he claimed was a tremendous voter fraud. At a rally in Perry, Georgia, Gina Loudon, a host for the conservative media network Real America's Voice, asked Trump, when would America get President Trump back? Well, we're going to see, Trump responded. There's been tremendous voter fraud and it's been being revealed on a daily basis, and we'll see what happens. Although the November YouGov poll showed that more Republican voters believe more in the former president, it revealed growing disapproval of the GOP members. The poll showed that the number of Republicans who disapproved of the GOP House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy's job increased by 1% from the prior month. Remember, 1 was at the top 2. McCarthy has been scrutinized by fellow Republicans for failing to stop the passage of the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill on November 5. 10-5, right? Drop the 0. 1 and 5. Again, critics of the GOP question McCarthy's ability to lead the party's interest in the future. Yeah, man. And then 10-6, right? 7, which is judgment. National Review wrote that it's not too soon to be asking whether Representatives Kevin McCarthy should be ousted from leadership for his inability to keep his caucus together on such a crucial vote. So there you have that. There you have that. I've got some funny shit too. I'm going to show. So I don't know if I should blast it out now or I should keep rocking with this. $13 is your favorite number. So MJ live. Oh, Michael Jackson. Yeah, Michael Jackson was most definitely Illuminati, a sacrifice, whatever, right? Go for it. Go for it. You want to see the funny shit? Okay. I'm Trump, Biden, left, right. Yes, exactly. Exactly. And look, let me show you some shit. Let me see if I can find it here. Hopefully I can. Let's see. Whoops. Does anybody see they took down brand new tube? I don't know if you guys noticed that. Right here. Look, guys, I'm trying to tell you, dude. I'm trying to tell you. And this isn't the funny thing yet, but this is funny too.
At web.com, you won't find your...
What if Trump is actually Biden?
Travel to the southern border, sir? Not at the moment.
Look at that.
Have you decided when you're able to share thoughts with other countries? Is it allies or neighbors first? Who will be the first country to get U.S. vaccines? I've been talking with several countries already. Well, I'll let you know that very shortly.
That's not real. It's sorcery. None of what you're seeing is real. Look. His hand goes to the fucking microphone. It's not real.
Bruh.
And here's the other angle.
Travel to the southern border, sir? Not at the moment.
Not real.
Have you decided when you're able to share thoughts with other countries?
Look at that.
Is it allies or neighbors first?
You can see the cutout. It's a green screen.
I've been talking with
We're virtual screen.
already. Well, I'll let you know that very shortly. Travel to the southern border,
Both
sir?
angles.
Not at the moment.
Look at that. Oh my God,
When you're
dude.
able to share thoughts with other countries, is it allies or neighbors first? Who will be the first country to get U.S. vaccines? I've been talking with several countries already. Well, I'll let you know that very shortly. Bruh.
That is just the greatest ever. They busted him fucking red-handed. Let me drop that in. Yeah, Wow is right, dude. Wow is right. I'm gonna drop that link there. Bruh. I know, I love that one too. Check this out.
All right. Thank you all for joining us today. I think Prime Minister may be still occupied in another part of the building, so we're going to begin. We're going to bring our shared attention to the vital issue that is impacting on all of our countries: supply chain disruptions. Supply chains are something that most of our citizens never think twice about until something goes wrong. And during this pandemic, we've seen delays and backlogs of goods, from automobiles to electronics, from shoes to furniture. Ending the pandemic is the ultimate key to unlocking the disruptions we're all contending with. But we have to take action now, together with our partners in the private sector, to reduce the backlogs that we're facing. And then we have to prevent this from happening again in the future. Now that we have seen how vulnerable these lines of global commerce can be, we cannot go back to business as usual. This pandemic won't be the last global health crisis we face.
Say what?
We also need to increase our resilience in the face of climate change, natural disasters, and even planned attacks.
Say what?
Many of our supply chains are almost entirely owned and operated by the private sector. But government can play a key role identifying supply chain risks and bringing the different pieces and actors together to address these vulnerabilities.
Bringing the pieces, bringing the actors together, the planned attack. This won't be the last. Do you not hear what this motherfucker is saying?
My administration is focused on this from our earliest days of the administration, which is not that long ago, just January 20th of this year. In February, we began directing new investments to strengthen supply chains at home and to work with partners to bolster supply chains around the world. Last month, we launched an early warning system to help get ahead of the global supply chain disruptions for computer chips, which impacts so many of industries in my country and all of yours.
They launched an early warning system from computer chips. Anybody ever heard of Appaject? Look it up.
Just a few weeks ago, we were able to facilitate an agreement with key unions, retailers, and freight movers to begin operating two of the largest ports in the United States that account for 40% of the imports on the West Coast, the Port of Los Angeles and the Port of Long Beach, California.
Where on that particular area, 126,000 gallons, Orange County, of crude oil was dumped, putting the Coast Guard there in a World War-style blockade. Also, where China and Russia were holding joint naval drills. Matter of fact, Russia has now amassed another 100,000 troops on the Ukrainian border, right? See, if you think for a second, I mean, even for a fucking split second, that all of this isn't planned down to the tiniest detail, you're delusional, man. You're delusional. This is the most nefarious fucking shit you can imagine. Everything you see on that television is for programming you. It is for spinning the web around you tighter. It's sorcery. That's all it is. They make their plans right out in the fucking open, right in your face. And you still ain't figured it out. Why do you think they have 20 quarantine zones and 100 centers for all that shit? Why do you think that is? Anybody who's seen the private shows knows that the Australian, I forget what they call them in Australia. I don't know if it's called Prime Minister. It's called something else there. But she talked about who that was all for.
So we got them to move from 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, to 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. I'm going to help get goods on the shelves faster, and
and right there, that's code too. When he's talking about the chips, he said we got them to go from 5 days, 40 hours a week, to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's because you're under total control now through the system.
Build Back Better framework provides...
Build Back Better, 666. Remember? Right? BBB. Blah, blah, blah. 666. Build Back Better. The green agenda. Right? The green horse.
For the first time, funding dedicated to monitoring and strengthening supply chains. Today, I'm announcing 2 further steps. First, I'm allocating additional funding to help American partners, as well as the United States, cut port congestion by slashing red tape and reducing processing times so that ships can get in and out of our ports faster. And second, I'm signing an executive order that will strengthen our...
And the red tape, right? They're setting it up for the Red Dawn to come in and out faster. He has already signed things through executive orders for, in case of disaster, for China to come help the United States. Do you see how this is going to work out? I've already told you about the UN Disarmament Treaty, and that's how they will actually remove your Second Amendment from you, right? Through that. And that's why they've deployed the National Guard and elected to do that. Not only have they circumvented posse comitatus by doing this, right? Not only have they done that, by using National Guard, the creation of Space Force, using the reserves, the Coast Guard, right? Notice how they've created the need everywhere for it. And they have now disrupted the supply chain. Sent out federal letters to private farmers to destroy their crops. Said that, the cattle, the sheep, the pigs are poisoned and they needed to be culled, right? All of these things. And the fuel shortage to take control of the energy as well. And now water is being contaminated and this and that. And the Waltons are now investing in the Colorado River and all of this shit. It's to control the complete life cycle. That way you have to go through them to live. They're blocking every door, putting up barriers and walls around everything. So you cannot be independent of the God government. And if you don't worship this God government, I'm sure you already know what your fate will be. They're slashing red tape, right? To make it easier for them to come in and out of the ports. So you can see that the West Coast, and I told you, man, I think around Christmas time, beginning of the year, one of the major faults they're going to give, and it looks like it might be the West Coast, is what it's starting to look like. Because of the preparation that they're making around that. And I just showed you guys, they just had an exercise, a week or two ago, for that same exact scenario. You know? Doesn't take a genius, to see what's coming. And the closer all of this comes, the more obvious it all gets to.
Management of the United States defense stockpiles for minerals and materials, and allow us to react and respond more quickly to shortfalls in the industrial base. I urge all of you to consider bolstering your stockpiles, critical to national security in your countries. But like so many challenges today, it isn't a problem any one of our nations can solve through unilateral actions. Coordination is the key, the reason for this meeting. And
they're telling you, and I just showed you guys the executive order pertaining to the national defense stockpiles, and he's saying, I urge all of you to do this, and it's not something one nation can solve. They're preparing for the fall of the United States. It's what he's talking about right now. Whether you believe that or not, I don't give a fuck, honestly. Check my track record, homie. I don't know the times, per se, on like how timelines will play out. I don't know that. Time is fluid, and it's an illusion to begin with. So, it's hard to call, what specific day and shit like that, and no man knows that. But it's very obvious what is taking place and what they're preparing for.
The best way to reduce current delays and build in greater resilience for the future is to work together across the entire supply chain, from raw materials to warehousing and distribution. Our supply chain should be, one, diversified, so that we're not dependent on any one single source that might cause a failure. Secure against natural and man-made threats, including cyber criminal attacks like ransomware. And transparent, so that both government and the private sector can better anticipate and respond to shortages that may be coming down the pike.
Yeah. So, and I told you to expect the cyber attacks and the cybersecurity shit. This is why you got this shit coming, right? They're prepping you for it, right? Look, solar superstorm, planning for an internet apocalypse. It won't just be the internet, by the way. That's why they're talking about X-class flares and all of this shit recently as well, and the geomagnetic storms, right? Remember, X, Hex, the cross, the curse, the planet of the crossing, the Hex, right? Like, it's all in the same shit here, man. Like, this is what they do. Look, black swan events are hard to predict. Rare events that can significantly alter the course of our lives. The internet has played a key role in helping us deal with the coronavirus pandemic, a recent black swan event. However, and I told you guys that they were signaling the 33 here recently, did I not? And I told you that means that they are coming up on a capstone event. And then you see the Travis Scott, right? And the 8 signaling that they've completed a task, right? So now we're at the capstone. The next move, God only knows, right? We will be struck by an asteroid. That's a fucking fact. It will happen. I don't know when, but it will. A lot of people expect around, this whole DART shit, in the 24th of November when they do their double asteroid redirection test. Who knows, right? Like, will that actually, be the moment or not? We don't know that. And there has been talk in every time that these northern torrids come through, right? Which is what we're seeing in the sky right now. It's creating fucking tremendous fireballs. Look, very bright fireball seen over western Japan, changing color from green to red. See? Look at that. And I believe it's red because it got closer to the ground, actually, right? It's the different gases that are burning as it's descending down, right? Because think about it. We see auroras when they're at the top of the ionosphere and it lights up, green, sometimes red too. And then when we look at sprites that are a lot lower, in the atmosphere, they're lit up red, right? It's the different gases that are burning, and that's what we're seeing. And I told you, I believe all of this is like a cycle of energy that creates this, right? These are plasmatic events, but, that's neither here nor there. I'm just trying to let you know. Look, defense tactics to stop hazardous asteroids hitting Earth. If you don't think that this is a reality, then you haven't read your Bible, that's for sure. Because it says, like a large millstone thrown into the sea, with that same force, Babylon will be thrown down, right? The capital of the UN is in New York City. And you look at sudden impact and all that shit over the years, telegraphing just that.
Asteroid we're going to hit Earth? Well, it's important to find asteroids before they find us, in case we need to get them before they get us. An asteroid impact is the only natural disaster that could be prevented. NASA's Planetary Defense Coordination Office supports projects to discover asteroids and to calculate their orbits far into the future. If an asteroid impact threat is discovered years or decades in advance, then a deflection mission might be possible. The first order of business for planetary defense is to find the asteroids.
Double asteroid redirection test coming up November the 24th.
Crest 3D White.
Right? November the 24th. In a little under 2 weeks, the launch window for NASA's double asteroid redirection test mission opens. In a world, maybe even universe first, the space agency will slam a spacecraft into the non-hazardous moonlit asteroid Dimorphos, which is about 160, right, which is 6 meters in diameter. The goal is to see whether it's possible to knock the space rock off its orbit. And I think they're talking about this space rock, not that one, because our orbit will change from 365 to 360 when this is all said and done. Planetary scientists at the University of Queensland, Trevor Ireland, told 9news.com that this is one of the 2 methods humanity has to stop a potentially hazardous object from slamming into Earth. And remember, 2021 PDC, the hypothetical asteroid impact scenario that took place earlier this year, guys. Remember, right? It was NASA and the entire world government. They weren't planning to stop a fucking asteroid at all. They were planning for the aftermath, right? And what were they using? Apophis and BAM. Dimorphos and Didymus. Remember? I do. We covered it. We talked about it. Right? We talked about it on this channel. We showed it. And that red striped planet in the sky with that red cracked ass looking moon that orbits it. Yeah. That's what my dream was, guys. Was that big giant fucking planet covering the sky and its moon hit the earth. So, and when the sky turned red, all the people become activated too, by the way. They all turned demonic. You know, it was just... and, you know, that's something you can't prove, I guess. You know, obviously. But time will tell. And there are images that are allegedly that asteroid. You see the two objects down here? Big one and little one. Big one. See what I'm saying? You know, you can believe me or not, take my word for it or not, but you know, we're coming up on all of this, man. You know, we're coming up on all of this. It's very close. Very close. And see, and that's the thing. I feel like when I say these things, it has the opposite effect of what I want it to have for you. You know, instead of turning you into like the most selfless, loving being on earth, I feel like it does the opposite to a lot of people. It puts them in their shell and they go into survival mode, and there couldn't be nothing more counterproductive for you. Honestly, there couldn't be nothing more counterproductive for you than to do just that. That's what they want you to do. That's what the fear-based control is about, right? That's why they show you survival shows like The Walking Dead and shit. Like, you know, like they want you to think that that's how you have to be. You don't. You'll die that way. Those who live by the sword will die by it. You know. Anomalous November storm triggers unprecedented mini swarm of tornadoes and damaged parts of Long Island and Connecticut. Thousands without power. See? They're setting it up. They're setting it up. Using real-world data sets, we analyze the robustness of the current internet infrastructure and show that submarine cables are at greater risk of failure compared to land cables. Moreover, the U.S. has a higher risk for disconnection compared to Asia. Finally, we lay out steps for improving the internet's resiliency. And think about that. Compared to Asia, right? China, you know? And they've been showing you the different submarines that the Russians have that'll create tidal waves for years. You guys will also remember earlier in March, Landtex, Pacifics, and Caribex 2021, the tsunami and tidal wave exercises that they were running, right? For a giant earthquake that generates a tsunami worldwide. We'll also refer to Carlos Parada and him talking about the coming of Herculobos and La Palma and its seismic and volcanic activity and the triangulation with Alaska. And I want to say Etna would be the other one, but don't quote me on that. It might be the one in Russia too, right? And it would show that it was here. Like all of these things are happening, right? Bioelectronics, scorpion invasion in Egypt, extreme hail and thunderstorms, over 500 people treated, 5 fifth wave, Omega scorpions out of the bottomless pit. They're putting it in your face, y'all. I'm trying to tell you, it is right in your face if you have the eyes to see. Remember the position of the magnetic poles too, right? We have about 15 months maybe. If they stay at their current trajectory, we have 15 months before magnetic reversal. That's if they stay at their current trajectory. And there was a 20% increase in the last 3 months in speed. So, you know, take that however you want to. See that? That's crustal displacement. You know? That's why the fireballs are falling. It's all part of this cycle of energy. Energy transferring. See it? Turning the skies red. Look at that, guys. That's your geoengineering and all of that. It's hard to believe that people would even deny, you know, where we're at with all of this. In my opinion, it's so hard to believe it for me. Mass die-offs of marine life. They're moving away from the equator. Why is that? Because that's the weakest magnetic point right now. See, and this is our world right now, man. Right now.
Hi, I am Melanie Kaepernick. YouTube has stopped financial.
Yeah, well, and this is somebody who, doing YouTube, she's saying that YouTube has stopped her financial support for a long time. Imagine that. I wonder why. She's showing the truth, dude. That's why. That's why. We know why. North Carolina. Now they're trying to say that this lines up with a fucking satellite or some shit like that. More lies.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have several meteors inbound just reported as of today. I'm about to do a video on them. But last night around 9:30 p.m. a meteor actually hit our atmosphere as reported by AP News and Yahoo. An incredible bright meteor traveling at 33,000 miles per hour lit up.
33,000, exactly. Capstone moment, guys, I'm telling you. And,
What the fuck are these things? Sorry.
It's nice, right?
Oh, what is that?
I think it's a constellation. What the?
see how they're moving?
What is that?
And they're like stringing along, right? That's drag. They're being pulled by something.
What is that?
See?
What is
drag.
that?
They're not UFOs. They're being drugged by something. You just can't see what's dragging them because of the nanoparticulates which bend and refract light. You're only seeing a little bit of the fire bleeding through.
C'est quoi ce truc? C'est quoi ce truc? Maman, viens voir.
C'est quoi l'histoire?
Ben regarde là-haut.
Now why do you think the longest eclipse in 600 years is coming?
Ben je sais pas. C'est quoi ce truc?
Bordel.
Mais ça bouge.
Attends.
Look at that. Wow.
This is Wrap the News.
Look at that.
And we can keep warning people. But we know we grew up and we never saw nothing like this in our skies. We never saw anything like this in our skies. You should know what time it is when you are seeing these objects in the sky. You should know.
These are the signs and wonders.
What time it is when you see two suns and the world has lost its goddamn mind. You should know what time it is. What time is it when you see something that looks like the mothership, huh? But that's like more than the mothership. That's like the motherfucking ship. You know, you should know that it is time for you to get real with yourself. You should know that there is no defense from what has come on this earth except for repentance and doing what's right by the Most High God before your ass get drugged to hell with gasoline draws on. Repent and return to the Most High God. This is Wrap the News.
Wow. He said the mothership, the motherfucking ship. Oh man. And you know what? Wrap the News. You know, I really love that guy, man. I love what he's done over the years. I mean, I remember when I first started watching his videos before, you know, anybody was even watching him, man. You know, he's kept it real from day one.
No. And what we have to the left right here is,
check this out,
what we believe to be a black sun.
There it is.
The same guy who discovered
Tezcatlipoca,
Planet Hell, the destroyer, who what everybody is calling Nibiru, is the same guy who discovered that it traveled around a black sun. And so he said the black sun was a dead star, believed to be the outer darkness.
Yep.
And so when we see a circular type black object in the sky, we should know the probability of the destroyer is there.
Look at that, man.
And so
Holy
it is the
shit.
fear of a black planet. It is telling you that the destroyer, the end of the time, the time of the Gentiles is near. You're looking at a small dot to the lower left. It is a small dot, but it's there, and someone is noticing it right by the moon. And then we're gonna show you that a little bit brighter somewhere else. Same dot that we noticing. The clouds are moving. The dot is not moving. The cameraman is moving, but the dot is remaining. Here it is again. This guy was so amazed by this black planet that's out in the distance right there in broad daylight, as everybody is just going through this world living their life. Some of us are noticing that something is off. Some of us are noticing that we have a damn black star out in our daylight skies.
Chatulapoca.
You can, like I keep saying, keep playing a game with your life and your salvation, but that ain't going away. Neither is hell. And for your sins, you will burn in the lake of fire for eternity.
Look at that, man. That is fucking amazing. That thing is... I'll be honest with you. The sight of that thing is just terrifying. I mean, just to be totally real. You know, a black star like that. Like, it's just... It says, men's hearts will fail them for fear. And that courage will flow from them like water from a broken pitcher. Imagine that thing. Up close and personal. The sheer fucking terror that thing would bring. You know, my only hope would be that, you know, maybe if we're lucky, we won't be here to witness that part of it, right? We won't have to go through that part of it and see that part of it. You know, that's not a ship. No, that's not a ship. And a ship is just a vessel. You know, it's a planet. And oh, thank you. Hey, I appreciate that, Linda Jamerson. Thank you, John. This is amazing. No one could have been a better teacher. Well, thank you. You know. Yes, and we must stay strong to the end. We must, man. A huge liquid metal mothership you saw. Well, yeah, that would be a plasma. You know, I'm just trying to tell you guys, all of the ancient texts, the ships are planets, guys. So that's what it means, a ship, a vessel, right? It's just a form that they use. It's a circle, an enclosure, you know, for a deity. There is an actual conscious entity behind each and every one of them. And this guy, he's a bad motherfucker right here. You know, this is darkness. This is evil. Incarnate. Like, you don't get no more real than that. You don't fuck with this cat right here. You know. And he takes what's his, too. He takes what's his. And that's the thing. You decide who you belong to at the end of the day. By your choices. By the life you live. by your heart. By your heart. And like I said, I feel like this has the opposite effect of what I want it to a lot of times. But man, let your heart be free in this time, like be loving, caring, generous, comforting, like helpful. Every positive characteristic and trait that you have in you, amplify it. Because that's the only thing that will save your ass from this. And I mean that. If you have one iota of self-preservation or clinging to this world, this will take your ass. That's what it's here for. Right? It kills all those without the seal of God on their forehead. You don't have to be jabbed to lose that seal. Just to let you know. You can give that away bit by bit throughout your life by being a piece of shit. Your heart's beating so fast. You'll know them by their fruits. Ain't that the truth, man? That is the truth. And we have to understand. And I know it's easy to do, but the whole judgment and all that, judging people and holding grudges and hardening your hearts, man, that is the worst right there. The pride of life, like those things. Please, man, I know it's hard to resist. People can rub you the wrong fucking way. I mean, life is not, easy. But we gotta overcome. We gotta overcome. And there's not a day that, each and every day that I do videos, dude, like, it's a new day, a new version of me, and I imagine, your life is the same, Not every day's a good day, but we need each other right now. We do. We need each other more than we ever have. Like we gotta be here for each other. Like for real. And like there's a big part of me, like sometimes that wants to be selfish. You know what I mean? Like we all have that in us. And to say you don't would be a lie. That wants to preserve your own ass. It's like, oh, just keep your mouth shut, John. You're putting a target on your back, or go do something else, John. You're living hand to mouth from this YouTube shit. Like, I have a selfish side too. But we got to deny that, man. Because this is all bigger than us. You know what I mean? It's bigger than any single one person. Like, for real. And that's the sacrifice. It's to serve. It's to serve. And when I think about it, when I was shown the dream, the vision, the whole thing, like I'm telling you, be careful what you wish for. Like seriously. Because I asked to be shown the truth, and I told God that I would give my life if He would use me in the most powerful way. And that's exactly what has happened. Like I have given my life, literally. This has become my life. And serving other people is my life. So, and there's purpose and there's meaning in that. There's a satisfaction in that. Like I can't it's hard to put into words to tell you, like, but when you find it, right? Like, when you have it, when you're doing good things. And we're a body, it's all different moving pieces, like we're all blessed in different ways. And like, I'm trying to give you everything I have, why I still can is what I'm trying to do. I don't know which video will be the last. I don't know which day they'll cut the power on all this. Do you think they want a person like me able to shoot their mouth off when they start going door to door killing people? You know what I mean? That's why they're prepping you for internet apocalypses and shit. Do you think they want that to happen? You know? They know I'd tell you every way to hide yourself. I'd fucking be descriptive on how they were moving. I would do everything in my power to have you overcome and avoid it. They're not going to allow that. You know, so we've got an appointed time right now. This is our appointed time, guys. It's a limited space of time. And people don't take it seriously. They don't take it seriously. They don't value it like they should. They don't see the value in it like they should. And I'm passionate about this because I know how real and how serious it is. And it's personal for me. It's personal. Like, I feel like it's, and I know it's not my responsibility and I'm not accountable for other people, but I almost feel like I fail people if I don't get them to take it serious or I don't get them to see it. You know what I mean? Like, if you come across me and you didn't walk away with what I wanted to give you, then I feel like I let you down in that sense. So I don't like that feeling. You know, I don't like that feeling. I know what I was put here to do. And I know what this moment is for. And I'm not saying this will be the only thing I ever do in life or you will ever do in life or anything. But this time is so fucking critical, it's not funny. Like, it's so critical, it's not funny. That you understand everything and that you get it. You know, and you see that, like, the crowds get smaller and smaller. The gate gets more and more narrow. The pretenders are all falling away now. You can't hide anymore. You can't hide who you are. You notice all those other YouTubers and shit that were all just bullshit in a show? They're all gone now. Or you watch them and you don't get a fucking thing out of it because they're just bullshit in a show. You know what I mean? It's like there's no faking anymore. You know? There's no faking. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's not a competition, you know. It's not a competition. God has got this, for sure. And, you know, all of this, it has to happen. And here, let me pull on this before we end it here. The fate of the two witnesses. Then a measuring rod, like a staff, was given to me, and I was told, "Get up and measure the temple of God, and the altar, and the ones who worship there." Remember, the rod, right, is the reed or the pin, right? The rod represents kingship. It represents power. Remember Moses, he threw down his staff or his rod and the serpent devoured it, right? When we make the two become one, we have the rod. We turn it back into a rod or to a staff, and it becomes the pin. The pin is mightier than the sword, right? You become the scribe. You become Enoch. You become Metatron. You become the elect one. That's what you become when you have the staff, the rod, the pin, right? It's talking about in the double helix, right? You've made the two become one. The measuring rod, like a staff, was given to me. A wand, right? It's power. It's magic. A scepter. It's for a king. It's royalty. And I was told, get up and measure the temple of God. Measure the dwelling place of God. And the altar. Remember the altar, the persona, the mask, the ego, and the ones who worship there. But do not measure the outer courtyard of the temple. Leave it out. Because it has been given to the Gentiles. Do not measure the outer courtyard. It's been given to the Gentiles. It's the flesh, it's the world, it's death. Don't measure this part of you. It's not you. The temple, it's in here. It's talking about measuring the spirit. That's the rod. That's the staff. Don't measure the outer temple. It's meaningless. It burns away. And they will trample on the holy city for 42 months. They will trample on the holy city for 42 months. Apophis 999:42. Holy city, 42 months. Outer courtyard. And I will grant my 2 witnesses authority to prophesy for 1,260 days, dressed in sackcloth. Now, think about this. The 2 witnesses are the 2 yous. Right? My 2 witnesses. Your higher and your lower nature. And you're dressed in sackcloth. It's worn as a sign of grief. You're wearing sadness. Remember, knowledge is grief, true wisdom is sorrow. And that's one of the questions I get asked a lot. It's like, John, why do you look so sad? We're wearing the grief. Because we know. We're witnessing it all happening around us. Everybody dying, everybody perishing, everybody being deceived. It's not a happy thing. And when you see it, and you're the only one who sees it, you almost feel like you got to be sad for everyone else, right? Because they don't even get it. They don't know what's going on. They don't know the treasure they're throwing away. Like their whole life. They don't know how precious it really is. How much they've been blessed, how much they've been given. Just throw it in the trash. And you watch it. And you watch them burn it. Something so awesome, so good. And you wear grief from that. Sadness from that. It's heavy. It's heavy. It's why you have to endure to the end. It's endurance. Because you're carrying a weight. You're carrying a weight. And I think one of the only things that's probably just even kept me going through all of this stuff is the fact I know that God give it to me because he knew I was strong enough to carry it. And I hope that's how you will look at it too. You know? And when bad things happen to me, or when I sacrifice my personal life to do shit like this, or when they've targeted me, tortured me, whatever, like I always knew, like it was because I could take it. You know? And it would be better for me to take it than someone else that couldn't. And that's how we have to look at it. The Lamb who was slain before the foundation of the world. Right? Like, that's what we are. Jesus was showing you. They tortured him. They killed him. And there was moments he didn't want to do it too. He asked his father to take it away from him if he could. And I've done the same. I'm sure you probably have too. Like, damn, I can't take no more. Please. I'm tapping out, God. You know? But God just wants you to wake up one more day. You know, wait till the next moment. Because this too shall pass, right? Like, and, you know, you will be able. You were made for this. You were made for this. And it's like a very, very special and high honor to even be in the company you're in. Like, you have to understand that. And you dishonor it when you look at it as anything else. You bring shame on it. And that's what they want. They want us to bring shame on it. They want us to dishonor it. But the reason the heavens are rejoicing and everyone's celebrating is because what we're doing. Like, I don't know if you know that or not. But it's because what we're doing. The whole world is doing something else. And it's all turned on us, against us. And it's all uphill. From the moment you come into this fucking place. And every avenue and every street is designed to destroy you. And despite all of it, despite knowing you will lose, knowing you will die, knowing you will give up all of this, knowing you will suffer, you do it anyways. Because your love is greater than every bit of that. And that's what makes you overcome. All of it. And that's why you have crowns upon crowns upon crowns in the spiritual world. Because you've done things that other beings could only dream of doing. That's why there's only 144,000. Look around you, man. There's fucking 8 billion of us. It must be a difficult task. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 lampstands that stand before the Lord of the earth. Enki, the Lord of the earth. Satan, the God of this world. If anyone wants to harm them, fire comes out of their mouths and completely consumes their enemies. And I swear to you, I know this to be true. They have literally sent thousands, probably, at me over the years. They've hexed me, cursed me, sent me cursed objects, people to pretend to be my friends, my girlfriends. I've been poisoned. I mean, you name it. You name it. And I've seen it and had it done more than once, probably. Fire comes out of their mouths. Living spirit comes out of their mouths and completely consumes their enemies. If anyone wants to harm them, they must be killed this way. These two have the power to close up the sky so that it does not rain during the time they are prophesying. They have power to turn the waters to blood and to strike the earth with every kind of plague wherever they want. Now, do you understand that when I'm telling you that we're doing it, or awakening, the tiles falling down, we're collapsing the reality because we're pulling out of it. It's us bringing the destruction on all the people who cling to what's left. We are the ones who held it up. They have power to turn the waters to blood and to strike the earth with every kind of plague wherever they want. When they have completed their testimony, the beast comes up from the abyss and will make war on them and conquer them and kill them. And that's what I'm trying to tell you we're at. We've completed it now. Right? The testimony is complete. And this is that time now. And it's all been laid out. So you would know each moment where you were. That way you wouldn't stumble or fall or be snared or tricked along the way. And he comes up from the abyss. That's the infernal abyss or the bottomless pit. Comes from the sky, space, north, the hidden, the darkness, and makes war and conquers them, subdues them, and kills them. Their corpses will lie in the street of that great city that is symbolically called Sodom and Egypt, where their Lord was also crucified. We're here. We're here. This is Sodom. This is Egypt. The same Babylonian system have killed us lifetime after lifetime. And God too. When they've completed their testimony, the beast that comes up from the abyss will make war on them and conquer them and kill them. Their corpses will lie in the street of the great city that is symbolically called Sodom and Egypt, where their Lord was also crucified. And Lord, supreme authority, or the one who's in control, Christ, Jesus. For 3.5 days, those from every people, tribe, nation, and language will look at their corpses because they will not permit them to be placed in a tomb. And those who live on the earth will rejoice over them and celebrate, even sending gifts to each other, because these two prophets had tormented those who live on the earth. But after 3.5 days, a breath of life from God entered them, and they stood on their feet, and tremendous fear seized those who were watching them. Then they heard a loud voice from heaven saying to them, "Come up here." So the two prophets went up to heaven in a cloud, while their enemies stared at them. Just then, a major earthquake took place, and 1/10 of the city collapsed, and 7,000 people were killed in the earthquake, and the rest were terrified and gave glory to the God of heaven. The mystery of God being revealed. The mystery of God being revealed. You know, we are so close to just, like, I don't even fear the death at all. It's like when you know what you know, like there's nothing that can shake it. And when the rest are running in terror, clinging to their lives, like the ones they hated for telling them the truth, for loving them, for being kind, for being good, when they see him, they will be like him. And that's when their torment begins. And it like makes you feel bad for them. To know that kind of love, to know that kind of light, and to be separated from it forever. That's hell. You know what I mean? To know like that kind of unity, connectedness, just have it gone. And be forever alone. Cold, dark, empty. That's hell. That's torment. You can see why, Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." They don't understand what the consequence is, man. I truly believe that, or I don't think they would do it. Maybe they would, I don't know. But the second woe has come and gone, and the third is coming quickly. You see, and that would be, in my opinion, that would be the harvest of the first fruits, or the Passover. These Scriptures are always the same story, but different variations, right? Because a different person's telling it, and their spirit's expressing it in a different way. But we've all seen the same thing. We all know the same thing. I can only tell you when I seen what I saw, it wasn't a dream, it was a memory. It was a memory. It's what it feels like, still. And I think we all have that memory. Because it's already over. It's already happened. So whatever you're afraid of, whatever doubts you have, you can let go of now. Because it's already done. You're just watching it play out. You're witnessing it in the moment now. That's it. We are the thunder to the lightning. That's it. It's fucking awesome. It's awesome. I'm going to wrap it up, man. I want to thank all of you guys so much. It's a sleep you don't want. Well, hey, you won't even know it. You won't even know it. Twinkling of an eye, dude. Twinkling of an eye. You know? And there's a reason they wait so long to kill us, by the way. Because you'll be free then. You'll only be more powerful. And they don't want that. You only have more influence than you already have. You know? If you can seal up the heavens and all of that in this moment, what do you think you can do in the next? Come on now. You know? Like, no need to be afraid of any of it. It's already over. It's already over. And truth be told, the only thing I think we should really be doing at this moment is praying for the ones who don't make it on the other side. And maybe asking God if he'll let them through too. Maybe tell them that, they didn't know. They didn't know. Because if they did, I think a lot of people, even the ones who've taken the mark, some of them have done it out of love. Like they have. They've done it because they want to feed their families and shit. Like they've done it out of love. Like, so, in my mind, God will know that, He'll know that. And maybe they don't get to come on this time in the first resurrection, but maybe they do on the next round, hopefully. I think in the end, or I know in the end, we'll all be at the same place eventually, right? Because the whole reason it all was even allowed to happen was to bring all things back into wholeness, right? Back into God. So nothing exists outside of God, so we're always in God, Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you, man. Thank you. I try to speak life. I've spoken death too, over myself and others, so I try to speak as much life as I can. If you can, please hit that thumbs up for me, guys. Just with the algorithms, it helps other people see it. After the video's over, please comment. Tell me what you think, your opinions. The comments also affect the algorithms. And just take a second to share this for me too. Just one time, on whatever social media you use, whatever platform you're watching from, just share it once. And if you are able, please donate and support. All the ads go to the music I use. I don't do the influencer stuff or sell anything. I literally give freely and to receive. That's it. Like, you know, so if you guys don't give, I don't get, basically. So if you can donate, please do so. It helps me tremendously. And it's how I'm able to do this and how I'm able to live. So, and if you haven't subscribed or followed, make sure to do that. And you might want to do it on a few platforms, just in case. You never know. Thank you so much. Zalika, Nikako, all the nations of the world, brothers and sisters, stand by Croatia. I'm down with that, for sure. Mandy, and see, look at this, dude. It's like a rainbow of people in here. Tell me that doesn't just like make your heart swell. For real. Croatia, Canada, New Zealand, the United States, the UK. Do you not see what's happening? Are you not witnessing it right now? Are you not aware of it right now? It's crazy. It's awesome. VG Fat Cat 13, Shelly Philippi, Dick Flinghammer, Mandy, thank you so much. Dom, yeah, man, it's beautiful. Graceful Heart, awesome. Oh, thank you. I love you guys too. I really sincerely do too. Like, I hope you know that. I really do. Kimberly Frederick, Digital Arts, Lower Class Citizen. It's my dude right there. Conan Egan. That's great, guys. Samuel Johannes. I hope I said that right. Johannes. Cool. And Gina Dysert. And Jesus Lives Here. Oh, I love me some Jesus. Patty Statler. It's awesome. And I'm gonna play some funny shit as we leave here. Let me. It's actually pretty cool, right here.
Okay. Now put your mind in your heart center, the center for obedience. Obedience is good. Good for me to
By the way, this is totalitarian yoga.
Control you with. Yeah, it's for your protection. Now do as I say. Okay, now we're going to mandate downward dog. You have to leave if you're not doing it. You'd be a second-class citizen. I'm not doing downward dog. Rules for thee, but not for me. Now feel the power of letting go of all your fear and living out of love. Except hold on to the fear I tell you to. Be very afraid of human connection. Very afraid. It's empowering to be disempowered by fear. When I tell you, let the fear control you and your life for just like 2 weeks and then forever. Now melt away the tension with obedience. And don't think about why Bill Gates gave a TED Talk on reducing the world's population. Don't think about that. You can trust him. It's not about profit. And now into Woke Warrior 3. Good. Let yourself be more rageful. You've got rioting to do. Good. You think you're free, but you're the most mind-controlled of them all. Good. Good. And just melt away your spine. Being spineless helps you be more obedient. Now lift your crown to the sky. Good. That helps you realize the purpose of your life is to be afraid for your life. Be afraid. Be very afraid. For your protection. Do you understand? Okay. And into men can menstruate mountain pose. Good. Believe it, or I'll get hostile with you. I'm menstruating a little bit right now. Feels good. It's science. It's science. Now relax into child's pose. Just like you're a baby who was just birthed by a man. When you believe this, will completely control your mind. Marxism's great. Just destroy a little objective truth. Send your fingers to the sky. Doesn't really matter. But let your ribcage melt. Just like your concept of the Bill of Rights. Constitution. It's dangerous. Freedom of speech is dangerous. It's bad. Okay, now into forward fold. Mash your face into your legs to censor yourself. You're being censored. Free speech hurts the profits of drug companies. I get a cut. Censorship is good. And into Portland pigeon pose. Good. Open those hips. Imagine they're loose, just like rubble on a federal courthouse you've just burnt down. And open your Antifa center. You're a rageful white person accusing other people of being racist. Don't think about that. And into critical race theory chaturanga. Good. Feel how every corner of the universe is built on systemic racism. You're a racist. Everyone's a racist, except me, apparently. Okay, now from Warrior 1, let's go into Obedient Little Bitch 2. Good. Great. Exhale all your air. All of it. Don't take another breath. Don't let yourself breathe anymore. This is a sensation of communism. It's not so bad. It feels suffocating. Which kind of feels like you're being taken care of, doesn't it? Now once again, reach for the sky and fill yourself with fear of human connection. Good. I can see your face. Your terrible, disease-spreading face. You should be ashamed of it and always have it covered, like your private parts. You're a diseased leper. Now feel your whole body united. Now let's imagine your body's divided into parts. That makes it easier for me to control you, for your protection. And now into COVID corpse pose. You're a corpse now. Relax into being one of my statistics. Oh, it doesn't matter what you died from. You're my statistic. I'll use you to manipulate others. It's your fault you're dead. You should have obeyed me more. What's up, my friend? Hey, if...
Oh my god, this guy is fucking hilarious. So, alright, man. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. I appreciate all that you guys do. You guys are just the best. Thumbs up, share, comment, subscribe. And if you can, please donate and support. Alright, guys. Remember, Jesus is the truth, the way, and life. God bless you all. I love you, and I will see you next time. Y'all have a wonderful week. Peace.
Catch your legs, I do Yo. Catch your licks, catch your licks, catch your licks, y'all. Catch your licks, catch your licks.